two lifts. There's the clean and jerk, two names, clean, jerk. Clean is get the bar or the weight from the floor to your shoulders. That's the clean. Jerk is shoulders to overhead. So with both movements, the goal is to get the heaviest weight from the ground to overhead. The person that can do that, the heaviest weight, is the winner. And you have 2 minutes. So clean and jerk is in 2 movements. Snatch is in 1 movement. So I get the bar from the ground to overhead in 1 movement. Right? So it's those 2 lifts, and then it's the total of those 2 lifts is the person that wins. And then there's weight categories. It's based on weight categories. So there's like 5-pound increments between the weight categories. If there's a tie, then the person with the least amount of weight obviously wins because they're lifting more weight per body weight in the weight category. So for this one, we're going to go over the difference. We're only going to do one, which is a front squat. Usually you'll see people doing back squats in here because that's either powerlifting or bodybuilding. You won't see a lot of front squats unless they're training for Olympic lifting. So we're going to go over that front squat. If you do sign up for the course, then we have to go over also the overhead squat, which is one of the hardest ones to do because those movements you'll be using in the 2 lifts. So we're going to go with the dowel first, and I'll show you what you're going to do with the dowel. Kind of warm up your shoulders. So with the dowel, you're going to get at your hip, where your hip crease bends. You should have to just bend over and should stay there without falling. From there, you're going to go all the way out until your arms are straight and locked out. So that's going to be your distance. If it's too short, you notice I can't straighten my arms, and if I do, it's not at my hips anymore. So it should be at my hips, and where my arms can be straight. This is our snatch position, and I want to warm up your shoulders for the front squat. So from here, we're doing pass-throughs and straight arms. If you can, try to get all the way back and all the way forward without bending the elbows. Okay, so we're looking for pass-throughs, all the way back, all the way forward. If this is as far as you can go, that's fine. Or you're going to do 10 pass-throughs, trying to get all the way back without this happening with the elbow bend. You want to keep the arms straight and hips. So one person has this one, and your chest. And then we're going to go in the shoulder and chest. Put your arms straight as far back as you can go. Without bending down. Really, you get in positions to do it efficiently. We'll try to muscle through it, and it's not a strength muscle type of sport. You have to have a lot of technique and form and mobility. So if you go online and just Google it and look at the warm-ups, like it's very mobile. Big guys, very mobile, because you have to be or you're going to get injured. So the next movement that we're going to do, because we were working on your front squats, is, again, you're going to take the dowel, you're going to bring it up onto your back, and then you're going to your squat position. So I'll go this way so you can see from the front. So it's just resting on the back. You're squeezing your shoulder blades together. So it's resting on your traps. You don't want to be rounded, because then it's resting on your spine. It's not going to feel comfortable. And you're going to get that shock going through your back because your nervous system's on your spine. So I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together, just that crease in my shirt. So now it's resting on my muscle on my traps. From here, I'm going into my squat. So shoulder width apart with your feet, toes facing forward. Okay, from here, you're driving your knees out and then down into your squat, keeping your chest up. Okay, my knees are going out, we do them coming in, it's going to be forward, driving the knees out, down into that squat, keeping that chest up. Okay, your feet are naturally going to, as soon as my feet are starting to turn out, they're naturally going to turn out to where it's comfortable. I don't want you starting turned out, people turn out too wide, and then their knees come in. So start straight, your feet will naturally start to turn out where it's a comfortable position. Okay, they'll naturally go there, and then you can look like, hey, my feet are only turned out this much, so I need to be overturned out. Of your clean and jerk. So, my phone is not going to work with the phone. So, if there was weight on the bar, I'd be going from the floor. So, this movement is usually what we call what? Know what I'm doing right now? Deadlift. So that's the first part of the clean is a deadlift. The only difference is you're doing it fast. I'm doing it slow to show you, but we're not doing that today. We'll cover it when we do the class. That's the first part of the movement. So I have to get the bar to my thighs. So I got to do a deadlift, right? From there, I'm exploding and jumping to get the bar to my shoulders. So if I'm doing this movement, what does that kind of reminisce of? Think of something that's round and has a handle. We call it a KK. Kettlebell swing. The only difference is we don't want the bar to go out like the kettlebell, we want it to go up. So as it starts to go out, what I want to do is shrug my shoulders to change the direction up, and then pull high and go up. So it goes to my shoulders. So that would be, this is considered a power clean because you're not going from the floor. Anything above the knees is a power clean. I'm still jumping if you look at my feet. So the full movement in slow motion would be my deadlift, which is faster. Once my hips extend, the bar is going to come out. That's that jump. Then I shrug and pull, receive in the front position, receive in a squat, and that's why you gotta learn the front squat to get the bar up to your chest. So when it's heavy, you're not gonna be able to pull it all the way up. So speed would be stand up with the bar. So all we're doing today is this position. Then in class, we'll learn how to get into there, and then we'll learn the split jerk, heading it overhead, which is the last position. But you're not doing that today because you can't learn in half an hour. There's just too much stuff to learn. And get underneath, and then bend your knees, and then stand up tall. So yeah, I'd go a little lower. So you might hit this, and that's gonna, I'm not going heavy today, but you don't want to be hitting anything once you start doing heavy weight, because that's gonna cause you to drop or fall. Yeah. Flat stretch. You're just gonna go with the bar. You're gonna come to the opposite side, because if I pull this way, obviously it's gonna fall off. So I'm coming to the opposite side, so when I pull, it's not gonna fall anywhere. So I'm grabbing with my lats, pulling the bar in, knocking my head underneath, then around my back, and then come back to brace. Round the back as I'm pulling, come back to brace. You're gonna do 5. You're gonna grab the side and cross, you're gonna pull again. Pull for 10 seconds, and then other side, the bar is gonna get stuck here, hold for 10 seconds. Okay? So you wanna stretch your legs. Dropping your head through and around the back as you're pulling the bar, and then brace it round and brace. I feel like it's kind of pulling your arms forward, so we're stretching the lats. You're gonna feel, I'll ask you, and then we know it's right here. If I tell people, they're like, yeah, sure I did, even if they don't, so I always ask. The next thing you want to do, again, is more lats and triceps. So this time you're with the bar, because you're going to be pushing. So you don't want to be on the other side, you're facing, because you're going to be pushing into the bar. You're getting your back of your arms onto the bar, clasp your hands together. Same thing, you're dropping your head through, and you're pushing into that bar, and then rounding the back again, coming back to brace. For 5, then you're just going to do 1, push forward for 5, so you get to stretch a little bit in the tricep and into the lats. So it's 5 counts. So you're just pushing into the bar and trying to drop your head through your arms and through the bar, yeah. Again, getting a stretch into your triceps and lats. So 5 of those, rounding the back and then back to brace. That rounding is in the stretch position. And then the brace, you shouldn't feel as much of a stretch. Bring your weight forward for 5, front and back. Turning out to the side, 5. And then reverse, 5. Okay, and we're just getting a stretch into the wrists and into the forearms. Trying to keep the wrists down, the palms down on the floor, and just rocking forward and back. There's some mobility in the wrists. You have to get the rack position here. So if you notice my elbows, where are they? Up or down? Up. So the point of my elbow needs to be pointing forward, right? So I can keep that bar, the weight up on my body. And the reason why we need to have it here is because the next movement I showed you is your press. So with bodybuilding, you'll see them do the front squat this way. The reason why you don't do the Olympic lifting is, can I press this way? No, there's no way I can press this bar over my head if my hands are here, right? And if I have heavy weight, I'm not gonna be able to do this and switch my hands. That's gonna be an accident weight. So you always wanna make sure that we're in this position. The guideline for that is thumbs distance from your shoulders. So when I go to the bar, thumbs distance from my shoulders, and then they'll be marking on the bar. Once you're set, it's like, okay. So I know from about baby finger touching here, or what I usually do is thumbs distance from the smooth part, and then I know I'm in the right position. And that's for your pressing position. That's what you want to get used to that position. That's the guideline. I have some clients that are very mobile. They can get closer. The only difference is they switch a little wider for their press because they don't have a lot of power from here for their press. They go a little wider as they get into the top of their clean. But you don't have to worry about that until we get into the course. We'll go over that. But for now, go with the guideline, thumbs distance from the bar. Once I'm there, I'm going under the bar, rotating my elbows forward. So the bar is, don't get up this way, this is low for me. You want to get up into a squat. Okay, with both legs. Back out 1 or 2 steps. And we want the bar resting on, what's the bar resting on? You can see on the side, is it touching my shoulders? So it should be resting on my, so you can see it's touching my shoulders, right? My elbows are up, the bar is resting on my shoulders. I can literally do this, right? That way there's no stress on my wrists. So what you'll find with people that are just learning, they don't have the wrist mobility, and they're here. So is the bar resting on my shoulders? No, there's a big gap, so all that weight is on my wrists. And then they're like, I don't like this, my wrists are, because they don't have the mobility, and their elbows are down and not in the right position. So elbows up, bar is resting on my shoulders. Okay, so all I want you to do is to get into this position first. So either with the fingers touching or full grip. Elbows up, squeeze them together. Once you've done that, you're gonna rack it back up, walk in, rack. So just get in that position so you're used to it. Okay, come back in. And then you're gonna re-rack, so you're forward. There's something you gotta get used to. In the warm-up, we'll do that. If you hold it for like 30 seconds, practice getting your elbows up and getting used to how you have to back out of the rack of it. So remember, when you come out, start with your feet apart. You need that balance. You're gonna touch your elbows. That's where they need to be. You can't teach it in half an hour. There's just too much technique. So let's come to the side so you can see from the side. And I'm gonna show you why you want your elbows up. So if you look at the side of the bar, my elbows, it's resting on my shoulders, my elbows are up. My elbows go down, what's happening to the bar? It's sliding down. So imagine that with weight, it's gonna pull me down. I'm either gonna drop the bar or it's gonna be a lot of stress on my wrists. And you're not gonna make the lift, right? So you have to get it up on your shoulders. And that's why you want the elbows up. As soon as that elbow comes down, the bar slides down. Now the weight isn't over my center, it's in front of my toes, and now I'm gonna have a problem with trying to hold it up. What will happen is your body will try to counterbalance and either do this, which you saw with some users that elbows up, you're like, oh, it's not comfortable. Because you're trying to, I'm forcing you up and you're not letting it go, so you're gonna arch. You don't want that, it's on your back. You wanna push up. So you're gonna go into that position again. When you're in that position, you're doing 5 front squats. So I'm getting that position, elbows up. From here, front squat, which we practice with the back one. Same thing, but the elbows stay up. Front squat. So from the side, what's happening to my torso as I go down? Yes, but is it coming forward? Does the bar come forward? Yeah, it's coming forward a bit, because the torso has to come forward. So look, someone put your hand, stand beside the bar, put your hand there. So watch when I'm squatting. It's coming forward a bit. Now I'm good because I keep it straight. Most people come really forward. We don't want that, you're gonna drop the bar. It's gonna come forward a bit because our torso has to drop forward. But the goal is to try to keep it straight, so I'm keeping my chest up and trying to keep a straight line with my squat without this happening. Because then it's gonna be on your wrist, and then when it's weight, it's just gonna drop to the floor. But a technique a lot of coaches use, my coach used to make sure that, to see that, hey, am I squatting straight or am I actually leaning forward? Because I'm not gonna have my hands hold the bar now. But that was good. I think it was pretty good. They kept the elbows up. It feels awkward as hell. When I started doing it, and this sucks, it's choking me, I'm coughing, you get heavy weight, you get dizzy. What you're gonna learn is, as you keep your elbows up and it's on your shoulder, there's gonna be about this much space that you can breathe, right? That it's not touching your throat. If your elbows are down, it's gonna be on your clavicle and you're gonna get a big bar mark and a bruise here when you're doing it inefficient. And the reason why is you can see my elbows down, there's no space there. As my shoulder goes up, you can see now the muscles here, there's some space in between my clavicle. So the next one you're doing is called a Frankenstein squat. front squat. And this is to make sure that you're going straight up and down with the movement. If you're tilting forward, the bar is going to fall. So if you can't catch it in your arms, just let it fall to the ground, or rather you be safe and let it fall to the ground if you can't catch it in your arms. The goal is not for it to fall, because you want to be straight up and down. You're not going to have your hands to help you keep the bar back. So this is just to teach you to squat straight up and down. So all I'm doing, thinking like Frankenstein, I'm getting into the bar like this. My shoulders are still up. The bar is going to be on my shoulders, and that's how I'm getting into the bar. So here, into my squat, stand out. If my arms are up, meaning parallel to the ground, not this, you'll know if you're doing this because you can hear my voice changing because the bar is choking me now. Because if my arms aren't straight, they're on an angle. Here, now I have space to talk. You can hear my voice doesn't sound the same. Here, wrong position. You're not gonna like it, you'll probably pass out. Here, you'll be okay. So once you're in this position, you're going to your squat position. Feet are straight, down. Is the bar rolling off my shoulders? No, because I'm going straight up and down. This is what we don't want to see. So if you can't catch it here, let it drop on the ground. That means I'm leaning forward. I'm not going straight up and down. So, and that's the reason why we're doing this, to teach you to make that squat straight up and down. Basic physics, the fastest way to any point is what? Fastest way to any point? Straight line. So that's why we're going to go straight up and down. We don't want to go, especially when you have heavy weight. We don't want to have to do all this extra stuff. It's going to make it harder. So it's teaching you, hey, squat straight up and down. So 5 Frankensteins. So I said before, if it starts to fall, either catch it in your arms. If you can't catch it in your arms, let it drop on the floor. In the class, we will be doing Frankenstein with weights. That's one of the ways. But you're going to just go to regular front squats. You can use your hands. So the hands are there to, if you start to dip, you can kind of push it back and guide it from falling. But it's 5 with the weights. Okay? So same front squat we did with the bar, but now you have either 20 extra pounds or 10 extra pounds on, but it's still 5. Okay? So 5 with the front squat. Remember, keeping those elbows up and forward. Get that weight on your shoulder, so it's not on your bone, on your clavicle. Pretend there's a chair behind you as you sit back and squat. Drive the knees out. Control down, up quick. Control down, up quick. 4 to 5. So explode up. You want to get the habit of exploding up because you want to get standing as soon as possible. Like we said, the first part of the clean, and we'll talk about setup, but the full movement is your deadlift. Right? From my deadlift, I need to get it to my shoulders. So this is a power clean because I didn't have to squat. When it's heavy, you're not going to be able to pull it that high, so you have to get under the bar. What position am I in now? The front squat, yeah, and I got to get up from my front squat. And then I got to bring my legs in to reset, get my hands reset, and then I'd go into my jerk. That's the finished position. So like I said with both movements, it's from the ground to overhead. You need to finish here with stability. So if I get here and you'll see in some videos because they're not stable, it doesn't count. Literally, people will be turning and trying to stop the bar from, and the ref will be like, there's a green light that says good, and it'll be like red. There's not a good lift. You got to show you can control it.